Okay, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk this week briefly about attack with second intention and how that differs from a feint, because I recently had the opportunity to fight some cut and thrust with a friend of mine, Rashid, we had a great fight. We were doing some single saber techniques against each other, and I found myself using a lot of attack with second intention against him. And it led to a discussion with some other fencers about what that means and how that's different from a feint. So I'm going to give you what my definition is, what my impression is, and how I use it strategically. A feint, and the difference between a feint and an attack with second intention to me is strictly what's going on with the attack. So if I feint, I'm indicating that I'm going to attack, but I don't actually attack. So maybe I feint to an inside line with the intention then of cutting to the outside line, maybe at my opponent's limb, let's say. Okay? So the feint would be feinting over, leading them to block to an inside line while I then countercut to the outside line, right? A feint indicates a false attack you don't actually perform. And again, to me, the difference between that and an attack with second intention, an attack with second intention, I actually am going to throw the attack, okay? And I'm going to throw that attack with the hope, if not the expectation, that the attack is going to land, but in preparation for a reaction from my opponent that I can then use to lead into another action. So, for example, I might, as I did against Rashid, cut to the inside line with the expectation that he's going to pick that up and then counter, at which point I may be prepared to pick up his counterattack and then go into a secondary attack that I've prepared. As you'll see in the video that I'll put at the end of this, Rashid is a left-handed fencer who's good and talented, and I knew that. And I tend to use attacks with second intention against fencers who are experienced and who I anticipate will be able to control distance and use a good defensive technique to prevent me from hitting on that initial attack, and instead use that to set up my follow-up attack. It's the idea of looking a couple movements into the fight to set up the eventual tactical advantage. So against a new fencer, or at least maybe not as experienced or not as responsive a fencer, I might feint and then cut, with the expectation that they're not going to have good enough control or recovery, or maybe not enough experience, that they'll fall for that feint. But against someone of Rashid's experience and response time, I would throw the attack, and once or twice I did hit on that attack. That's a key. That's why I say the attack to me with second intention is there's an actual attack there. I'm not necessarily counting on it landing, but it may very well land, and I'm trying to get it to land, okay? And from there, I make that attack with the expectation that he may very well pick it up, at which point I've got my defensive technique, responsive defensive technique prepared, and then follow up with a counterattack that I believe will have a higher percentage of responding. So again, that to me is what attack with a second intention is. It's, in my opinion, very useful for experienced fencers, or for maybe less experienced fencers but who are very fast and have a good reaction time, someone that you need to have step into distance so that you can strike them, because maybe you don't want to chase them all over the place. And so as a result, you lure them in with the promise of a counterattack, which you are prepared for, and you execute your second intention movement after that. Of course, second intentions don't have to be limited strictly to attacks. It could be a bind, it could be a movement, a step, whatever. It just means that when I'm throwing that attack, I'm throwing that attack with a plan or an expectation that I'm going to follow it up with another technique or movement. So that's it for me. I'm going to, as I said, put the video at the end here so you can see a sample of our sparring and how I used attacks with second intention against Rashid. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below and I'll follow up.
Yep, good cut.
Sorry.
You're supposed to stop recruiting.
You got long legs, run them down.
Yeah, I'm also old and it's hot. Yep.
Good arm. Nice job.
That was not an after. Oh, I know, but I knew why you threw it. Not a problem. Yeah. And it was nice and controlled. Not a problem.
When I play cut and thrust, I call back my shots that don't stick. Technically, one could make a BS argument that it was a good shot.
How hard is it?
Nice.
How does it was
Thank you.
one of the
That was
portions.
really nice.
Thank you very
I
much.
was out last weekend working.
On the hip.
That would have been nasty skiing. You'd have been fine, but yeah, that would count for 30 more seconds. You doing what's up, Italian or German?
Elbow. Fantastic. All right, one more good pass.
You got it.
What are you checking there?
Something Porterfield was teaching.
One more.
Yeah.
See a lot of their work, and I like their nets and their...
Definitely an after. You won that one.
Good, but you cut my hip open.
Yeah.